Okay, so we were talking about catch documentation, the importance of collecting all the information of the fishery products. Can you go back a little bit more? Thank you. Okay, but if we have all this information collected, we really have to be clear about that information will be passed on to the end users, so that the traceability regulation is why it's very important as well to implement together. And the traceability regulation should regulate the all those supply chain to pass this document from here to there, so that the retail until the product reaches to the retailers, so that we get all those information of the catch should be passed on. And the import control regulation is also important, because about half of the products are now imported to Japan, and so that the half of the seafood is imported, which means that if we don't regulate the import items, that the regulation cannot work properly at the market. So let's go back to the first question. What is sustainability? The sustainable fisheries and sustainable seafood that the regulation is based on to the FAO's Code of Conduct for Responsible Fisheries, and which was set in 1995 by the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization. And it's a really thick and long document, but in short, very, very short, the three core principles for sustainability are the below three. 1, sustainability of the exploited fish stocks, and 2, maintenance of the ecosystem on which the fishery depends, and 3, effective and responsible management. And alongside those core principles that the people are working on to make the sustainability rules, especially in order to raise awareness and ensure the sustainability. How can you measure sustainability? That there are two guidelines: fishery certificate and rating programs. The rating programs and the fishery certificate is two different methods to assure the seafood sustainability. The rating programs is the list of tested specific marine products, and it's done by the scheme owner, and like MSC and NSC. I will talk about it later. And the method is guideline for consumer, and it shows the rating programs is the green, yellow, or red, just like it signals. And it doesn't really cost to the consumers or the users, because it's all covered by NGOs or the scheme owners. And there's no waiting time, because the scheme owners constantly verify the specific species, so that there's no time to wait for that. Whereas the fishery certificate is more the specific. It's the certification to specific fisheries, and it's verified by the application basis and application from fishery or the chain of custody. And the method is differentiation in marketplace, typically with eco-label. The downside of this method is, this is really good method, but the downside is the high cost, that it costs average 10 million yen, 15 million in average to evaluate. And it takes about 1 to 3 years, long time to be certified. So it's a real sort of high level, and not every fishery can achieve this, or even just to challenge that. So the rating program is now sort of covering that downside of the fishery certificate, but this fishery certificate is more accurate for the sustainability. So it's sort of a combination of two are really working well at the moment. Let's see the rating programs that we have. The Global Seafood Rating Alliance, and the Blue Seafood Guide is the Japan's representative. Actually, there's only one in the country which is now activated. The boss of this seafood rating programs is the Monterey Bay Aquarium's Seafood Watch. This is the oldest and now the leading edge of the seafood rating programs, and the Seafood Watch team is the one who gathered the Global Seafood Rating Alliance, and then now we gather like at least once a year in Monterey Bay to make the mutual methodology as an international standard, so that the Blue Seafood Guide also is following this mutual standard to make that as a global standard as the rating programs. And another approach, the fishery certificate. At the moment, we have the 6 major certificate, 3 wild caught and then 3 aquaculture caught. And MSC is the one who is the most outstanding one, and we have several products available in Japan as well. And ASME and IFA, we don't have the products imported in Japan yet, so that we don't actually talk about this constantly. And MEL, Marine Ecolabel version 2, is the Japanese original one and was led by MEL Japan, which is actually used to be a part of the Dainippon Suisankai, the fishery corporation, which has a strong relationship with the fishery agency. So this is the Japanese standard. And it's recently recognized by GSSI, who is Global Sustainable Seafood Initiatives, the third independent party who is showing the FAO guidelines to recognize the fishery certificate as the global standard to cover the sustainability standard. Also aquaculture, that we have ASC and also BAP. The BAP product has started to be imported to Japan, so that we will see how actively working with the BAP is. But still, at the moment, MSC, just like MSC, the ASC is one and only sort of label in Japan. And the global gap, that they have no products in Japan yet. And MEL Aquaculture has started to work at the same time that the MEL 2.0 was recognized, and MEL 2.0 Aquaculture was recognized by GSSI as well. But actually, there was many problems. As an NGO's view, MEL 2.0 and MEL 2.0 Aquaculture is not good enough to be recognized internationally. So we made lots of questions into GSSI, and in event, as a result, GSSI declared that they are going to change their methodology to recognize the certificates, so that everything will be shuffled again, including MSC and ASC, that they are going to re-verify those certificates in this year. And this is the certification rating collaboration. Because of the 2 different types of the sustainability showing programs, the seafood certificate and the rating programs are having some kind of the dilemmas, and then they're trying to make it work better together. So the certification and rating collaboration is made by Monterey Bay Aquarium Seafood Watch team and MSC and ASC, and then 2 other organizations were invited to make the conversation, and we are supervising that as well. So talking about the Blue Seafood Guide, which is our program, the Blue Seafood Guide is a positive rating program to recommend sustainable seafood dedicated in Japan that we are verifying the thank you, the Japanese seafood products with our original methodology. And now we have 44 a variety of the seafood, which is the blue seafood, and then it's recommended. And the difference between the other rating programs worldwide and the Blue Seafood Guide is that we show only the recommended seafood, whereas the other rating programs like Seafood Watch and others are showing like red, yellow, and blue signals. And then they just even say that do not eat these fish. We didn't really want to do this because we didn't really want to harm the Japanese business, and we just wanted to make friends and a collaborative team first, and so that we thought that this is good enough. And actually this is highly opposed by other rating programs, like including Seafood Watch, that this is a good method just to think positively. And this is the methodology of the Blue Seafood Guide that we, if you remember the three principles, we talk about principle 1, the stock status, and then principle 2, and the habitat and an ecosystem, and then principle 3, that the actually the management system. And we have 70 indicators to evaluate, which is less than the Seafood Watch and other programs because of this data deficiencies. And we have to rely on to the data issued by the fishery agency and then the government. But at the moment, because that we were having this Olympic method and that we didn't have the management system, that we are lacking of these very, very important information. That is why we cannot evaluate by this international standard method, which like Seafood Watch. If we evaluate any of the seafood in Japan, we have to say that it's red because of the data deficiency. Because of the system like Seafood Watch, that if the data is deficient, lacking, that they just automatically put the red mark for that category, so that we cannot use those in internationally recognized methodology. And that is why we created our own methodology to be to skive off the just wave, like such as like MSY based reference points, or stock rebuilding plans, or target reference points, harvest control rules, and especially this one, harvest control rules, and bycatch, all catches of non-target species. Those information are lacking, and so we are expecting that within a few years that the Japanese government will improve their management system so that we can get more accurate database. But this is the only data that we rely on to at the moment, the stock status, and this is the alternative to MSY based data. That is what we are using at the moment. And now the example of the raising awareness, like the international events at like TCAT, that because both the Intercontinental Hotels and the Pacifico Yokohama, which are the two sites that was the TCAT was taken place, that there were our Blue Seafood partners, so that naturally they were following our code, so that the sustainability code for this this international event was based on the Blue Seafood Guide, which was the one success story. And the other one, at the G20 Fukuoka, the Financial Ministers Central Bank Governors Meeting. Again, the chef appointed to this meeting was a member of the Blue Seafood Guide. So the chef by himself made this kind of the panel says, do you know Blue Seafood Guide at the dinner table? And then he used only the recommended items from us. And then we had the private consultation before this, making the menu for this G20 Fukuoka session. So that's another successful example. But still, as you know, that the government itself doesn't have the sustainable sourcing code, so that we really have to sort of negotiate or to try to implement our methodology one by one. And this is what we would try to do to implement the sustainable seafood, right seafood sourcing code to the Olympic 2020. We have the history of the London and Rio, which both of us were really successfully done, that they took the MSc and Good Fish Guide, which the London took the MSc and Good Fish Guide, which is the fishery certificate and the rating programs. So we wanted to follow this method. And the Rio was even better, that did only the MSc and ASC code. But in fact, what the Olympic organizing committee did was this really precise notes of the sustainable sourcing code. They said a sustainable sourcing code, but it is not sustainable at all for us, because the problems of this Tokyo 2020 code is ignoring new fisheries regulation. Although the new fisheries regulation was introduced in 2019, their excuse is that the implementation is not yet done, so that they wanted to ignore that. But in fact, because the 2020 Olympic Games postponed to 2021, now that they cannot use that excuse anymore, so that, well, if this emergency situation will be solved in Tokyo, and then we are going to have another meeting to start asking them to change their mind, which is probably really hard, but we still have to do it. And the sourcing code number 4 is actually the problem, that they'll tell us 90% of fish are sustainable, while even only 16% of the stock basis is at a sustainable level. So this is just unreal. And it even allows the endangered species to be supplied, like bluefin tuna, Pacific bluefin tuna is recommended. And even the juvenile Pacific bluefin tuna is included in the sourcing code 4. And so, which is unbelievable. But approved fisheries management system will be disappeared by the end of this year, so that this is, I hope, is negotiable. And also, they put the MEL 1.0 and AEL is eco label approved, but they are not assuring sustainability, and it's actually omitted by GSSI standard as well, but they still included it. And their excuse is that because the fisheries that who's already obtained MEL 1.0 AEL, they are sorry for them. I mean, yeah, we are sorry for them as well, but it's not a matter of sorry or not sorry. It's a matter of sustainability, science-based sustainability, so that we really still have to talk with them. This is the chart that I just made it to show you to easily that you can understand that this the top arrow shows that this is at the Rio code and the London code level. And the Blue Seafood Guide is on the second level. And rating programs following the FAO Code of Conduct will be all in this category. And the Global Seafood Rating Alliance recommended Tokyo 2020 code bottom line is on the third layer, on the silver line, that we wanted to be tolerant enough to show the bottom line of the sustainability. So this is not aspirational, but still this is the sort of realistic standard for Tokyo 2020 that we showed together. But the Tokyo 2020 Sustainable Sourcing Code is here at the bottom row here. And what they excluded is, in fact, eel, whale, and dolphin, and that's all. But at least they omitted the three kinds. Should we go? So it's almost 1 hour has passed, and another half an hour I would like to spend together with you with the discussion about after COVID-19 or with COVID-19 that the paradigm shift will be happening both for the society and for the economy as well. And the new sense of value will be introduced. A lot of restaurants have closed their restaurants, and they started to change their menus and the way they provide their food, and also the new politics. Like if you saw all those what the Japanese people did on the Twitters, the silent majority, which was introduced by Ayako Sono that I admired in 1989, that she called the silent majority, but that silent majority is no longer silent in 2020, and we are tweeting majority. So we can move the politics, that we can make a big influence to the politicians. That we saw that the example of the Abenomics, for example, or the recent issue about the Kuroda-san of the Kensatsu, and so we can do more than 20 years ago, for example. And the new definition of luxury will be changed. And so in this sort of new era, what is sustainable society with various looking like? Probably the supply chain changes. For example, a lot of fishermen has lost the supply chain because that there was no order, so that they started to sell their own products online by their own method of the Instagram or Facebook, and they have well sold, and so they started to realize that what is the product that the consumer is needed, which means that there will be a change of sense of value happening, and because of the change of lifestyle, because people started to eat in, and that they didn't go to the restaurants, so that the products that they wanted has changed, because people don't eat like foie gras or truffles every day, but we need everyday products in a better quality. What is the better quality? This is our chance, our opportunity, that the better quality could be meant that the sustainability, the sustainable seafood or sustainable product could be the added value for the next era. So that is the chance that we can try to make the society better. So the consideration that I just gave these as the homework for the graduate school students, but now we can use this template, and then I would like to discuss with everybody. And here I cannot see everyone. If we finish this, and then let's see everybody's faces. Oh yeah. Thank you very much. Okay, if everybody can just screenshot this or smartphone this to get the QR code, and please do this. Could everybody get this QR code? Can we go back to this QR code? Thank you very much. Please, everyone, if you can screenshot or take the smartphone a QR code and answer to this questionnaire. It takes about 10 minutes, so that when we finish this session, please do this as your homework, please. And let's go back to this, everybody's faces. Thank you very much. We have about 25 minutes left, and I would like, I most welcome the free discussion and questionnaire.
Okay, so thank you very much, Yue-san.
Thank you so much.
So everyone can ask everything. And also you can input message, or you can just now talk to Yue-san. So if you change the microphone mode from mute open, then you can ask the question. So Sasaki-san, do you have any questions?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for very interesting presentation. And I myself is really not really deeply related to this industry, and I am in Thailand, so I don't really know that recent situations in Japan. And but thanks to Asali Sensei, and I'm happy to join here. And yes, there are so many problems and the improvements which I just know from this time. And also because I'm in Thailand, and I really interested in how about the Thai fishing as well. We have oceans, and we some news we have, I heard we have problems as well, illegal fishing. And so it's I just feel it's not I mean it's not really I don't want to say something bad for the whole, for the SDG goals, but the each I really understand this time like a very single segment, like seafood, just the one seafood. But there are so many keys should be prepared, regulations and the certifications and exports, imports, and basically come from the goodwill actually. But the society at any segment we have many problems. And then so the goal is very clear, but the process is really complicated. And yes, and there are so many keys. I think about the politics as well, and I think about the food as well. And yes, and I am really interested to the next discussion for the after COVID directions in Japan as well. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions from anybody? If not, I guess that Masanori Kobayashi-san, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Excellent, excellent. I would like to ask about the Pacific Island country situation, because you're expert of that. And please introduce yourself. And
Okay, thank you. My name is Masanori Kobayashi. I'm a senior research fellow of the Ocean Policy Research Institute of the Sasaka Peace Foundation based in Tokyo. And thank you for inviting me also to join it. And for the Pacific, yes, the fishery and also marine resource conservations is like a very important part of the policy issues. And yeah, one example is in Palau that has expanded the marine protected areas up to 80%. And with that, of course, the area for fishery declines. And there may be a trade-off between conservation and fishery resource use. Some other countries, such as Marshall Island, they have also adopted legislations to promote protected area network. And for that, the country itself is struggling as to how they can really structure the user groups and the communities to manage marine resources. So many of the Pacific Island countries are at a different stage of implementing such policies, and MSC and Sustainable Seafood Guys, they give useful informations, but the countries, particularly in the Pacific Islands, they have a limited capacity. Their market is also very small, so they are examining how they can take part in that kind of international programs and partnership to promote sustainable fisheries. So maybe these are some perspectives just to supplement what Ms. Inako Yue presented this afternoon. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. We're very lucky to have you here. And another expert I found that the Atsushi tsunami. Tsunami-san, are you there? Hello.
Yeah, I was just speaking to him until 5 minutes ago. He might have stepped out, but yeah, I'll make sure that he'll get back to us whenever he's ready to talk.
Right. Yes. Good. I mean, if he's coming back, and then we would like to ask about the from the political expert point of view, what is coming after COVID. And anybody else? Any questions or any? If you would like to share your idea. I cannot see.
May I ask one question?
Sure.
Yes. So maybe because of the Japanese culture and food, we have sushi and so many. We are fish eaters. Japanese are fish eaters, and maybe we can say maybe the biggest fish eaters in Japan, in the world. And like for the policies, world policies for the fishery of seafood business, also Japan is something like a kind of the leading country, or what is Japan's position in the world?
We are sorry. What is the position of Japan?
Yes, as what, how I can say, in this field, I mean, for the sustainable seafood business or protecting the world, the ocean, or in this area.
Okay, for the seafood trading wise, the Japan is the third largest country who consume the fishery products.
Mm-hmm.
And half of our consumption is relying on to the imported items, and mainly I prepared the chart, but I'm sorry I couldn't show this one now. Mainly from the salmon and mackerel and the prawns are the three major products that we import.
Yes.
So you might know the countries like Norway, Chile for salmon, and also prawns from Thailand, Indonesia.
Mm-hmm.
Mackerel from Norway.
Yes.
Yes.
And for the I mean SDGs target, Japan also is a leading country for that.
No, I don't think so. Unfortunately, that we should be.
Okay.
Yes, and for example, there's the three targets I showed, like import control rules and catch documentation and traceability rules. These rules are already implemented in EU countries and the United States as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we're following them, and we are thinking that we're 10 years behind.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ibe Sensei.
Thank you.
井上さん、
はい。
E さんという方が今手を挙げておられます。
はい、please.
Hi, I'm sorry, are you talking to me?
Yes.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't know.
thank you.
I can't see you.
Oh,
Is it
hold on.
Christine?
Yes, Christine. Hi, how are you? Thank
Hi.
you so much for such a
Thank you.
great presentation. I teach about the SDGs to elementary, junior high, and high school students in Japan. So this was, but I don't normally.
In English or?
In Japanese and English.
Oh, wow.
Mostly Japanese, but trying to do it in English, but they're a little bit young to
Right.
understand some of the complex issues in
Yes.
terminology. But this is one area that I don't normally focus on with the kids. So we normally look at poverty, gender equality, and all those other areas.
Yeah.
So I was very interested to hear about the different initiatives that are being promoted here in Japan and around the world, as well as the, sorry, my child just came in the door, sorry. And I was interested to see how the different international meetings being held in Japan focus on sourcing sustainable fish and food sources during the meetings themselves, but yes, but yet are not, that information, for me, that was the first time for me to hear that type of information. So I was wondering, my long question, I was wondering how can the general public be educated on the types of initiatives that are going on in Japan, not only amongst the experts, but just the regular general public, adults as well as children. What is the best way, do you think, that the general public could be educated about these particular issues? Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Christine. That is our issue. Actually, like, as an NGO, we are targeting to raising awareness of the general audience or the general consumers all the time. And one solution that we are trying to achieve is to buy the Blue Seafood Guide. They're promoting the Blue Seafood Guide for general public and consumers, and so that they can easily understand what to consume because of sustainability consciousness. And also, educating children, we started to think that the using the textbook used by the schools or the after schools could be one solution, so that we should work on it. And then we started to divide the target by target, and then we are aiming at the ladies who are like decision makers a household, and we are the one who decide what to eat tonight with children. So we target on them, and then from May, from this month, that we are starting the new project called the Blue Seafood Beauty Book. So we were trying to lead the customers' attention by handling the other information, like how effective this seafood is for your beauty, like good for skin and good for your diet and good for your health, that sort of stuff. So that that people who are not really interested in the sustainability or SDGs, but they can probably open up the other door, like beauty, cosmetics, and so that's our new approach. And then also because of this COVID situation, we cannot provide events like we used to do. Like Blue Seafood Guide Kids lunch party or Blue Seafood Guide ladies gatherings, that we cannot do it, but instead we're going to open up our YouTube and like Instagrams, and then we're going to have the more communication online, and probably there will be another opportunity for us, an additional opportunity. But please let us know what is effective that you think, so that that'll be really helpful for us.
I think that's really wonderful. I'm really enjoying hearing about how you are looking at the different sectors, the segments, especially people who may not have a particular interest in the SDGs or think that it's not directly directly connected to their lives, but approaching them from a different angle, per se. I might have missed earlier, I came a little bit late.
You're muted.
Sorry, about the Blue Seafood, I think you said guide, was that the first one you said?
Blue Seafood Guide?
Yes, the Blue Seafood Guide. So I might have missed that, but I was wondering, and if I did, I'm very sorry. Do you have some kind of labeling program or labeling, I guess, program that's in the supermarkets, for example? Is that part of the Blue Seafood Guide to show sustainability of different catch?
Well, actually, at the supermarket in the United States, the supermarket like Walmart, that they have the agreement with the Seafood Watch, so that they show the Seafood Watch signals like this is green and this is yellow, but they don't actually sell the red. They show it clearly. And in London as well, Sainsbury is using the MSC label, and the other supermarkets that they show their sustainability commitment. But in Japan, not really is happening yet. And we had the partner called Super Koyo, who have 80 stores in Western Japan. They had the promotion of the Blue Seafood Festival. But it was like sort of one time, so there is no continuous effort for them. But I think it's happening. But the difficulty,
thank you so much.
Thank you. But the difficulty that I just wanted to add is like the MSC has a very strict code, because they have the both fishery certificate and COC certificate, chain of custody certificate. That without getting the chain of custody certificate, the people are not allowed to promote marine label, MSC label. So that's their dilemma, I think.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you answering my questions in detail. It was a very wonderful presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much indeed. Sorry, Sensei, is it about the time, or would you like to wrap up?
It's coming. So if anyone don't have any questions, we want to close the session. But before that, we want to give you a big hand. Thank you very much. Very much, everyone. Unfortunately, we can do the on-site lecture. Usually, every year we invite Ms. Iue to be a lecturer here in Kyoto University on-site. But this year, it's very happy to invite many people from not only Japan or Kyoto, but also the other countries. And from July, we will start the new website, so-called SDGs Kyoto Times. So there we want to continue the discussion between consumers and the manufacturers and also the fisheries, etc. So once we decided the site, I will inform you all about the website, and also I want to invite Iwe-san as the lecturer once again. So anyway, thank you very much, everyone, to share the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. There's still one more minute left. Sorry, Sensei.
Yes, not only one.
Not only one. Okay, we have my intern this year here. I would like to introduce you all that we have Hanako Kurita attending this session, and she is working with us as an intern, and she is at the 3rd grade of Keio University, measuring the politics, but she's a very, very powerful team staff here. So let me, would you like to say anything, Hanako-chan?
Hi everyone, thank you Yu-san for mentioning me. And thank you for the great lecture. I think I was able to really learn about how in Japan there has not been enough measures that's been done for the SDGs and for a better environment in our society. And it was a really great time for me to rethink about our future and the marine biology and all that. Thank you.
Okay, so we are waiting in Kyoto. Please come with Iwe-san.
I would love to. Thank you.
浅野さんもおられますけど、何か日本語でも英語でもコメントとか質問があったらお願いします。
Thank you for your great presentation, Minako. Thank you. I stayed in United States 5 years ago, but I'm so sorry. I'd forgotten how to speak English. すいません。I'm a chief researcher, Consumer Research Institute, Nippon Association of Consumer Specialists, NAX 消費生活研究所の浅野千恵美と申します。I have a question. 実は水産エコラベルを、すいません、I'm so sorry, in Japanese. 水産エコラベルをテーマにして消費生活論文を書いているんですけれども、アメリカに住んでいた時にこれ2013年にマクドナルドですでに、フェローフィッシュにこの MSC のラベルがついていて、もちろんアメリカよりも先に、ヨーロッパの方が、イギリスに MSC の本部があるってことでこの MSC のマークが入ったんですけど、日本も、昨年の、2019年からこの MSC マークのついたフィレオフィッシュが売られるようになりました。でも、イオンとかそしてコープなどではたくさんの MSC の商品を見るようになったんですが、ここが質問なんですけど、消費者がこの水産エコラベルのことを知らない、そして知らないどころか、水産資源管理の重要性にも気づいていない、この辺が欧米に比べて日本は遅れていて、ちょっと残念だなと思っているところです。で、その最たるものが先ほど美奈子さんのプレゼンテーションにもあったんですが、メルジャパンのここに、マークがあるんですけれども、すいません、メルジャパンやあと、AEL などなんですけれども、日本の確か 1% って言われましたかね、ものすごくこれ商品を見つけるのが大変。確かに GSSI の、認証も取得されたんですけれども、日本頑張れと思いつつ商品が目につかなかったら消費者は応援のしようがないってところもちょっと気になっているところです。以上です。
Yes, the recognition ratio of Yes, the recognition ratio of the eco label is really low here. probably about half of the average of the international standard. And for the MSc, at the most, they said that they are 22% this year. So one of our mission is to raise the recognition of the eco labels, so that Blue Seafood Guide is always including the MSc and ASC as a label recommendation in the pamphlet. But yeah, we're gonna have to do something more.
また浅野さん、ぜひ一緒にブルーシーフードガイドも広めるのにご注意ください。
Thank you.
Thank you, and I would love to read your report, please.
I agree with you. Thank you.
Okay, so is there any question again?
Yeah, anything? Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me ask you, I was wondering two things. One is, there are like a fish market, and it depends on the countries, but I believe that fish market, not like a supermarket or like a department store or maybe the online shopping, it's still traceable, easier. But the local fish market, any like how they deal, the leading countries, how they deal the local fish market. This is one first question, and the second is I see there are so many great researchers and professors and not maybe activists, but many good knowledge in Japan. But at the same time, and the knowledge is not really actually like a 10 years or 20 years behind, but the fact that society itself, I see, is always behind. Just for example, Thailand, you maybe see from Japan, Thailand is ASEAN, maybe still not really developing countries, but still maybe many Japanese people think they're below us, below Japanese. But actually Thai, now we don't have plastics already. It just happened. Before, yes, we have so many plastics and we have so many plastic problems, and just happened. I feel like immediately people just knows the problems, and that is for like several years already. But then government decided, then before government, the law regulation will activated. Actually, the biggest supermarket and department store, they made that like association. They just banned it. They just not use it anymore. And actually, plastic bags it's actually easy because you just stop it. You don't have to any more cost. Then just stop it. Something you can do immediately. But this is just an example. I mean, for the fishery also. Why what's the problem in Japan about Japan? I mean, the politics, or maybe like too many regulations, or because people's minds are not really behind sometimes. I think maybe for the fishery, eco fishery, I think behind, because I just know as well. But there are so many good wheels in Japan, but what makes that country move so slowly? This is something like actually too general question, but I always wonder, especially these days as well.
Yes, for the first question, I think that every coastal villages have their fishery corporation, and they're gathering the information. And some countries or some areas in Japan, even they do manually with the pen and pencil, but the most of the countries are shifting to the electronic systems, so that it's a transitional period at the moment. For the second question, what is wrong about this country? It's always happening everywhere in the different industries, but I think it's that the business have got the power. The business corporations and business associations, that they have a strong power and that big voices, and that is effective to the politicians. And I think that's the key number one. And the fishery agency is always looking into the fishery corporations, if they are smiling today or if they're not smiling today, that they're really, really into the mood. And for the Olympics sustainability sourcing court, that was really handled by the fishery corporation, in fact. And the fishery agency didn't want to change, or refusing to change it, because they don't want to give them a hard time. And for the plastic issue as well, that you said that Thailand, that people try to stop it, that they stop it, which is wonderful. But in here, the government is considerate, I don't know, the plastic industry is big here, and their voice is big. And I actually I'm seeing it by myself, with my two eyes, that the plastic industries company representatives are giving a big messages to the politicians.
But actually, Thailand is maybe the most biggest country for the plastic production. Thailand itself. So that's actually amazing to me as well. So I mean, so you have to get something, and you have to give up something. You cannot serve to all.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so that's something. But yes, I understand. Yes.
But at the end, it's all depending on us consumers.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
But as Sasaki-san already mentioned, this is everywhere this happens, and we realize now that we have to educate or communicate to be a more good consumer. So now Iue-san is writing her doctor thesis. So maybe our thesis will also contribute to that kind of change. Not change, but innovation we need. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, so is there any other? Sorry, the time is over, but thank you very much. Is there any others who want to make questions? Okay, thank you very much, Iue-san again. So,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we hope to continue our good discussion to make the solution. Thank you very much. So thank you very much all. So as I mentioned, I want to invite all of you to be a continuous discussion and a new kind of evolution. Thank you very much.
Okay, I have a question on the chat, so that I will answer this before I leave this room, so that please wait if you raise the question on the chat. I will do that, but otherwise, thank you very much and goodbye, everyone.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Thank you.
ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。